80 Days, adventurer and award-winning filmmaker Paul G. Roberts retraces the global footsteps of Phileas Fogg, hero of Jules Verne's most famous work.
Share some of my personal favorites. Paris's best luxury hotels for a luxury Parisian stay, a few of my favorite restaurants and places to eat, possibly the best standout Paris budget hotel for well under $200 a night, and one of Paris's most decadent hidden attractions that is definitely not part of the regular vanilla tourist maps or guides. But trigger alert, it is not safe for work. Now, in order to maximize the full Parisian luxury experience, you want to choose your lodging carefully. It should be in a location close to the main attractions, and when you're in Paris, you've got to splurge a little bit. And so it should be a sensual overload of luxury, as nowhere does luxury quite like Paris. If any city of the world was oversaturated with 5+ star ultra luxury hotels, it is Paris. And many of these notables are more like palaces than regular hotels. From revamped humble pensions that once lodged some of the city's most notorious down and out bohemes, to more recent 5-star openings and refreshers, catering to an internationally wealthy crowd. There are innumerable and very glamorous places to bed down in the French capital.
Les gens viennent ici en sachant qu'en principe, ils vont découvrir une ambiance qu'ils ne trouvent pas ailleurs. J'ai pensé que cet hôtel devait être la représentation permanente de l'art français à travers nos différentes époques, auprès de nos clients étrangers.
Out of all the luxury hotels in Paris, my current pick as number one is not even French. In fact, it's part of an Asian chain, the Peninsula Group of Hong Kong. Mon Dieu, sacre bleu, I hear you shout. But after sitting empty for decades, a former 1908 hotel has been transformed into the first Parisian outpost for the Hong Kong-based Peninsula brand. And it's genuinely one of Paris's newest palace-grade hotels. It was 4 years of work by a stable of skilled artisans that has resulted in airy, refined public spaces, where a muted cream palette is accented by restored original wood, decorative stonework, and 40,000 pieces of gold leaf. And with 5 in-house dining venues, you hardly have to venture out of the hotel. Standouts include Lily, serving Cantonese cuisine, including a range of handmade dim sum. The 6th floor L'Oiseau Blanc is an indoor-outdoor French restaurant themed around the early days of aviation. And Le Bar Kleber, where original 1908 oak panelling, oversized mirrors and terrace views set a very sexy scene for cocktails. This century-old building is full of history and was once the Majestic, another luxury hotel of Paris. Many famous guests lodged in the drawing rooms. Think Picasso, Stravinsky, Marcel Proust, even George Gershwin, who wrote An American in Paris here in 1928. The site was later under UNESCO's headquarters until 1958, before being turned into an international conference centre where the treaty that ended the Vietnam War was signed. When you enter, you pass a pair of lions as you enter the white stone building before descending into a grandiose main hall. Think Versailles-style hall, with huge ceilings, an enormous Lasfit chandelier, then even more handmade glass, sophisticated mouldings, marble and woodwork. It's really a sumptuous feast of the senses. It's not cheap. Rates start at nearly 900 euros per night. And this is the most recent addition to the luxury hotel scene in Paris, and has no doubt been one of the most successful. It opened its doors in 2014 with a clear aim of being the most beautiful hotel in all of Europe. Owing to the peninsula's multifaceted history, the hotel pulls off combining neoclassical French style with contemporary features and the latest technologies. And this is best seen in the hotel's 34 rooms and suites, the most expensive of which will cost you 25,000 euros per night. And you must eat here at the formidable L'Oiseau Blanc. And the top floor has a 360-degree view of the Eiffel Tower. So, you tell me, is the Peninsula the most beautiful luxury hotel in Europe at the moment? It's certainly not far off. Now, whilst the Peninsula may be Asian, the Ritz is unashamedly French, and it's the grande dame of Parisian hotels. It was among the first hotels in Europe to provide guests an ensuite bathroom, electricity, and a telephone for each room. It quickly established its reputation for luxury and attracted a clientele that included royalty, politicians, writers, film stars, and singers. And this is one of a small number of hotels so high and mighty that they create their own weather system, which made the blagging it got when it reopened in 2016 after a 4-year revamp, all the more baffling. Many scoffed that it was just a facsimile of its former self with just a fresh coat of paint. But despite any nitpicking by the naysayers, it stuck to its guns and its critics were just tilting at windmills. The Ritz remains, merci au bon Dieu, the Ritz, demonstrating that sometimes the most spectacular renovations are often the least spectacular, though the hotel is as opulent today as any time in its 122-year history. Yet even among the silks and the tassels, a kind of democracy prevails. The smallest rooms are, by Parisian standards, generous and differ from the mega suites only in scale, not the degree of their sumptuousness. And it does not matter how rich, famous or beautiful you are, the peerless Bar Hemingway still is not taking reservations. And now I come to my favorite budget hotel in the City of Light, and it's the Hotel Monte Cristo. Amazing value for under $200 a night. It's 4-star, 5th arrondissement, and it even has an indoor pool. And the Hotel Monte Cristo has a really cool Middle Eastern vibe, which makes it fun to stay at. And the price, under $200 a night, is incredibly good considering its central location, central style, and great reviews. The hotel recreates the universe of mankind and the creations that invite us to travel and contemplate. Its vibe is inspired by the Orient and imbued with rich purple hues, marbled patterns, and premium materials, all complemented by exotic plants and antiques. Everything has been specially designed to evoke a timeless space blending originality and quirkiness with luxury. Many people credit Paris as the center of gastronomy in all the world, which I would have to agree with. First place I want to talk about is a genuine icon. It's La Tour d'Argent, and it's been around forever. This Seine-facing beacon of French dining was actually built as an inn in the 16th century, and it wasn't until the 19th century that it became the restaurant we know of today. And if there was ever a place to leave your meal up to the chef, it's at La Tour d'Argent. Or if surprises aren't your thing, opt for the several course tasting menu, which includes the signature dishes from the restaurant's long history that have been updated by chef Yannick Franck, a Mélière Ouvrier de France, who took over the kitchen a few years back, in addition to the chef's own unique recipes. And of course, le canard. If you're into duck, now that's a long-standing draw for diners that have been coming here for that since the 1800s, the late 1800s. And if meat doesn't inspire you, everything from fish to plant dishes are also well balanced and sublime. And they have 300,000 bottles in the wine cave, 15,000 different references, and this is absolutely the destination for wine lovers. And on the way to the elevator, pay attention to the photographs and newspaper clippings of all the world-renowned celebrities that have been here. Everyone from JFK to Angelina Jolie have dined at the Tour. And then there is La Coupole, a living memorial to the Paris's Art Deco legacy. La Coupole has seen more than its fair share of Parisians' who's who's. Patti Smith played guitar on the terrace. Henry Miller came for breakfast. Jane Birkin used to lunch here, as did Marc Chagall, Henri Matisse and James Joyce.
Laisse tomber les filles, un jour c'est toi qu'on laissera. Laisse tomber les filles, un jour c'est toi qui pleureras. Oui, j'ai pleuré, mais ce jour-là, non, je ne pleurerai pas, non, je ne pleurerai pas. Je dirais c'est bien fait pour toi, je dirais ça t'apprendra, je dirais ça t'apprendra. Laisse tomber les filles, ça te jouera un mauvais tour. Laisse tomber les filles, tu le paieras un de ces jours. On ne joue pas impunément avec un cœur innocent, avec un cœur innocent. Tu verras ce que je ressens avant qu'il ne soit longtemps, avant qu'il ne soit longtemps. chance abandonne celui qui ne sait que laisser les cœurs blessés. Tu n'auras personne pour te consoler, tu ne leur as pas volé. Laisse tomber les filles, laisse tomber les filles, un jour c'est toi qu'on laissera. Laisse tomber les filles, laisse tomber les filles, un jour c'est toi qui pleureras. Non, pour te plaindre il n'y aura personne d'autre que toi, personne d'autre que toi. Alors tu te rappelleras tout ce que je te dis là, tout ce que je te dis là. Alors tu te rappelleras tout ce que je te dis là, tout ce que je te dis là. Alors tu te rappelleras tout ce que je te dis là, tout ce que je te dis là. Alors tu te rappelleras tout ce que je te dis là, tout ce que je te dis là.
The menu includes typical French brasserie food, with a particularly strong seafood emphasis. Order the seafood tower. Order a side of buttery whelks or winkles with one of the seafood platters, which are as delicious as they are photogenic. And one that you cannot miss if you're staying in Paris for the first or 31st time. It's le Jules Verne, or le Jules Verne, at the Tour Eiffel. Frederic Anton presides over the fate of this emblematic restaurant, which is on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower. It's accessible by a private lift. The magic of this 125-metre high dining room instantly will bewitch you. And it's further captivated by the high-flying cuisine. Blue ribbon produce, delicate, perfectly judged cooking and knockout wine list. Every detail has been puzzled and pondered over. For example, naturally cooked cod, spicy jus, fried garlic and fresh coriander or lamb in an aniseed-flavoured jus. When booking, opt for the tables near the windows, as the views over Paris through the tower's iron fretwork is nothing short of spectacular. And to close my Paris, something a little bit left of centre, les Chandelles. Now, the outrageous les Chandelles, or the candles, is actually Paris's most infamous sex swingers club. And it's not just Parisians, but people from all over the world, I guess libertines from all over the world, come to Paris and then put a capstone on their visit here with a night at Les Chandelles. So they go out with a bang, as it were. It's a subterranean warren of pleasure, hidden beneath the streets of Paris. And this X-rated club is where the rich and famous of Paris go to fulfill their sexual fantasies, far away from prying eyes and paparazzi. As the paparazzi aren't allowed in and all phones are banned, you actually have to leave them at the reception in one of the lockers, and you check out and get them back once you pay your bill when leaving.
Téléphone
À l'entrée.
à l'entrée. Mais c'est une règle.
Mais si quelqu'un en a un caché.
Une GoPro sur le front.
Non, mais c'est.
Now, you would never find Les Chandelles if you didn't know what you were looking for. It's located in an unprepossessing building at number 1 Rue Thérèse, inhabiting a boring, rather flat quartier of the first arrondissement, where there are obscure boutiques and undistinguished Asian restaurants. It's near the Bourse, which is the Paris stock market, and also the Palais Royal, which is not far from where the Louvre is. And typically, you have to go to Les Chandelles after midnight, and you first have to get past the unsmiling doorman who sits like Sir Kerberos at the gates of the underworld, who allegedly turns away as many people as he lets in. Singles are not permitted, so you have to come with a partner of the opposite sex. And it's run by the inimitable Valérie Herveau, known to all as Madame Valerie, who until recently has kept very quiet about what goes on inside the porno chic temple. But she's now come out with a book. So Madame Valérie Herveau, who's 53, opened the doors to Les Chandelles in the heart of Paris more than 30 years ago, after discovering the joys of swinging in her 20s. It's a universe of pleasures, she writes in her new memoir, Les Dessous des Chandelles. Sex is just the cherry on the cake. I sometimes get drunk just on the atmosphere. However, it turns out that pleasure doesn't come cheaply, as cost of entry is a stiff £270 or $500 US per couple. But that price includes dinner and champagne, which are really just the starters to what comes next. And during these feasts, an erotic tension spreads, soft and delicious, reveals Herveau. Tongues loosen little by little, the conversation becomes bolder, the glances more direct, the touching less innocent. Nothing happens at the bar, where the women keep their sexy little dresses and Louboutins on. The scene, however, in the back room is a bit like something out of Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. Although without the funny masks and capes. There are some people partially dressed, some people in expensive lingerie, and you'll find some people completely naked. Described by one reviewer as the porno chic temple of Paris, Les Chandelles, the underground labyrinth of softly lit rooms, gives couples a safe space to which they are free to strip off, swap partners, experiment, or simply watch. It's said there are 4 types of customers that frequent Les Chandelles. First of all, there is le spectateur, and as it may appear, it's somebody who doesn't want to participate, doesn't want to look, they just want to hang out amongst the kind of funky environment and soak it in. Then you have the second type, le voyeur. Now the voyeur goes one step further than le spectateur. The voyeur obviously likes to watch, and le voyeur goes into the back rooms without participating, but takes it all in through their ocular senses. And then you have les changistes, which are the swingers. And these are the people that go to the back rooms, take off their clothes, swap their partners, and have wild, unsanctioned, unforgettable, but safe sex. And then you have les cordelistes. And the cordelistes are probably the most peculiar of the four categories you will find in les Chandelles. And les cordelistes is really about the couple goes into the back rooms and one of the partners prompts his partner to go and participate and have sex with other partners, but he or she doesn't. So it's one partner encouraging the other partner to be a swinger and participate, but never indulging themselves. It must be kind of a power trip to be controlling the situation without having to participate. And in the back room where the horizontal salons are, there's mattresses with unlimited condoms, all supplied part of your entry fee. These rooms are filled with dark alcoves where couples can strip naked to romp, while others join in or sit back and enjoy the show. It's really quite real. There's men on women, women on women, and bodies blur into a writhing, sighing mess. Downstairs in the basement, toys and chains are attached to the walls for those feeling extra playful. And the age demographic differs drastically for men and women. Most of the messieurs are over 40, with some well into their 60s, while the mademoiselles are younger, in their late 20s and 30s. But it's definitely not a pickup joint, and as I said, singles are not even allowed into the inconspicuous front door. But if you and your partner are lucky enough to find yourself being grabbed by an inviting hand on one of your arms, then you just join in the fun. However, no one forces you to do anything, and you're more than welcome to just stand and watch all night or sit at the bar and just drink in the view. It's not threesomes, one regular said, it's exsums, meaning as many as you want. And this place is way more rouge than Le Moulin Rouge. I wonder if they licensed the photos of Marilyn in the hotel. I kind of doubt it. They definitely should have, because I know there's a foundation that is very protective of Marilyn's image. I'm here in Paris, France, staying in a very peculiar little quaint hotel in the 15th arrondissement. And when you first come into this hotel, it actually gives you the strange feeling that you could be in Tokyo in Japan in one of their strange themed love hotels. But no, it's a little boutique hotel, and all the rooms have been themed with Marilyn Monroe memorabilia. There's a TV on a loop in the elevator as you go up or down, playing Some Like It Hot with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon and Marilyn. Just a little bit of a walk through Hotel Platine in the 15th arrondissement. And out we go into the street. It's a Sunday morning here. Lots of people around. A nice sunny day. Gonna head up to the Arc de Triomphe and the Eiffel Tower in a minute. Get out in this fresh air. So let's go on a bit of a tour. Hello. This is the elevator.
Hey, that's no Dave.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
Sort of cools the ankles, doesn't it? Well, what do you think would be fun to do now?
I don't know. It's getting pretty late.
It's not that late.
The thing is, I have this big day tomorrow. I really have to get to sleep.
Over 60 years since her death, Monroe's history has become a vehicle for investigations into mid-century Americana, female sexuality, female madness, and the cruelty of the Hollywood dream factory.
I had the most wonderful dream. I was still on the yacht and the anchor broke loose. We drifted for days and days. You were the captain and I was the crew. I kept a lookout for icebergs. I sorted your shells and mixed your cocktails, and I wiped the steam off your glasses. And when I woke up, I wanted to swim right back to you.
I'm terribly sorry.
It's okay. I was scared. It was Sweet Sue. You won't tell anybody, will you?
Tell what?
Well, if they catch me once more, they're going to kick me out of the band.
This is a moment of thrill. Thrill me, thrill me. Take me in your arms and make my life.
Now, believe it or not, I'm not in Tokyo. I'm not in one of their quirky love hotels with the various themes that they have. I'm in Paris, and I'm in the 15th arrondissement, not far from the Tour Eiffel or the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe and other mainstream monuments. But I chose this hotel because Marilyn, to me, has always been one of the indefatigable pop culture icons that never seems to date or fade, and her luminosity, whether it's celebrated through songs of Elton John or done in movie remakes, and there's been millions of them. One recently with Anna de Camus playing the lead by Australian director Andrew Dominic, which has received its fair share of criticism. And I guess, do we need another story of Marilyn to be told? I don't know. I mean, over the 60 years since her death, and it has been 60 years, it's quite a long time, but she still seems relevant. And her history's become kind of a thematic topic for investigation for a number of different dimensions and angles. It's an investigation into mid-century American values, the Hollywood movie system, of mental illness, female sexuality, and also Marilyn's journey into madness. It's a tragic tale, and I guess it's the reason, like any classic story narrative archetype, when there is some form of tragedy, it makes the subject even more compelling. And that may be the reason why this particular hotel has chosen to use Marilyn as their icon. Dominic's Blonde is a fictionalization of a fictionalization that is wild with visual experimentation, something every heavy-handed music video director uses to the point of cliche. It flutters between aspect ratios, flinging from serenely wrought black and white cinematography to pastel sweet colours. A sensory experience he's obviously meant to give rapture. Yet the film ultimately moves through Marilyn's life narratively, like the Monroe biopics that have come before, all wedded to her trauma while forsaking the complex artistry and politics that glittered through her life. Now, Ana de Armas is stunning. She's an actress at the top of her game. She morphs into a living, breathing Marilyn, all breathy and incandescent. Marilyn was a force of nature. In her films, she could sell diamonds as well as she could sell milk. A child vixen, a Nabokov wet dream. Through De Armas, we watch Norma Jean endure her mother's abuse before Gladys is sent to a state-run mental hospital. We observe Marilyn's marriages to Miller and Joe DiMaggio, a brutish one-note Bobby Cannavale, and her struggles with addiction to alcohol and barbiturates. We get rather brief glimpses into the actual work she did on screen, including Don't Bother to Knock, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Niagara, and Some Like It Hot. The film hits every well-worn trope of the Monroe mythological canon, right down to the gender essentialist belief that ties her madness to her failure to become a mother. Blonde is riddled with scenes of great trauma. There are rapes, forced abortions, near-death experiences,